welcome along and welcome back to OakHill. It is the first day of autumn, and what we have feared was going to happen has actually happened. You can see it here in field 61. Our rye and our canola crops have all failed. Half of our fields in this first year are now dead. They have switched to harvested. So we're going to get an early drop on the rye for next year. It's due to go into the canola fields, so we're going to get that planted as soon as we can. However, something we do have on the farm is the pH levels on all of our fields are low. So we're going to take this up to the shop, the big Breedle spreader. We're going to fill this up with lime. We're going to spread the canola and the rye fields, and we are going to get those prepared for planting for next year. We are going to need to get a whole load of lime. This takes 1,400 litres. That is going to be, under the big bags, 1,400 litres of lime is going to be 7 bags. So actually, we should be fairly good. 7 bags is going to be about £3,500. So we are going to have to borrow a fair amount of money today. So let's do that. We're going to have to borrow 15,000. It's going to take us over 600,000 and will give us 5,793. And with that done, we can buy some big bags. Now we do have a little bit already in the trailer, so I probably only need 6 of these for now. And there we go. There are 6 big bags. And what we need to do is we need to line ourselves up, get this to do the bulk fill, which is one of the most useful mods that I've seen in Farm Sim. It's not showing me the bulk fill icons at the moment, so we'll see if it does actually do the bulk fill off this. And the answer to that is yes, it does. You need to you just need to have the correct trailer selected in order to do it. So this should give us about 95% full, I think. We are just coming up to the last one now. We had something like 30 litres or something like that left in it, taking us up to 88% full. That is more than enough for today. 338 litres was what we had at the farm. So we're going to work our way round, and we're going to get all of our fields limed that we can at the moment. And the first field I'm going to do is field 31. This is looking good. The soybeans are looking healthy and doing well, and I'm expecting most of our other crops to be ready about mid-autumn. For some reason though, these fields have just completely failed to grow and be usable this year. There's no harvest off them at all. It's put a big damp for us the first year. We, of course, losing half our crops is really, really bad for us, with having borrowed so much money up front. It's going to take us a little while to recover, to the point where I would quite like to have sold these fields, I think, and picked up a couple that hadn't failed. The trouble is, we can't do that, because on OakHill, you buy fields in groups, not as single entities. So as a result, it means we couldn't sell these fields without also selling some of the other ones we owned. And that is field 31 pretty much done. We'll come back and get this little bit here. And then I want to head up and get the bit at the top of the field that we missed as well. Down to 64%. This lime is not going to go anywhere near as far as I thought it was. On the positive side, it does mean that these fields are going to be nicely limed. Now, according to my crop rotation, we should only be replanting one of these fields with rye. But I think I'm going to suspend that and plant both the canola fields, simply because we want to get stuff in as early as possible. I'm actually tempted to switch it round and try and plant the rye in the canola fields and the canola in the rye fields, or maybe even just plant one of the rye fields with canola and go with that for this year, because it is a little bit weird for us to be in this situation. Now the next field here, I think it's 73 and 74, both are in need of this as well, and yes, there is 73. So let's get this field done as well, and this is much bigger. This is going to be a much much bigger job to get this done. Do we have enough lime for this, or are we going to have to go and spend some more money and get this refilled? We're almost done on field 73, and we've used about half the remaining lime that we got. We're using GPS now to make sure that we are as efficient as possible with precision farming. I do like the fact that precision farming only uses exactly the lime and fertilizer that you need to. So we're down to 34% now, which we should have enough to get this field done. Whether we have enough to get our final field done or not is a good question. I can't tell from what we've got here. I'm kind of on the doubtful side of that. Despite the fact this field is slightly smaller, it is gonna it's still gonna take up a big amount of the lime we've got here. I am noticing as I go through though, all of my other crops are right on the verge of harvest. Everything else has gone through and germinated fine and grown fine, and it's all gonna be ready by about mid-autumn. And so once we've got these fields limed and we've got these fields planted, what we'll be doing is getting those harvested, and hopefully a bumper crop harvest for the first year. Won't be 100% because our fields aren't limed, even though they are properly fertilized, but overall I think we're in for a good result with those. Amazingly, we've still got 17% left at the bottom end of this field. I had expected us to be a lot lower. I don't know if this is going to be enough to do our last small field that we've got on here. We will just double check that in a moment. Last small field being field 61, which is not very small at all, actually. So what I'm going to do is we'll have to take this up and back round to the shop, go and refill this with some more lime. We won't need much. I think we may only need maybe 2 bags, so we'll only be spending about £900 to refill this. But once we have, we can head back down to field 61 and get that done as well and be ready to do some planting. Been up to the shop and I have purchased another 4,000 litres of lime. We're coming up to field 61 now, and we'll turn on and get this one done as well. So we're down to 1,361, so we know going into the next game day that is gonna disappear again. We're basically borrowing money at the moment to make it through each day, and I reckon we're gonna end up with a loan of about 800,000 in the first year, which isn't too bad so long as we make enough money off the first year's crops to cover our costs going forwards. We're costing about 10,000 a day and 36 days each year, so we need about 360,000 just to cover our costs each year, which is quite a large amount. But we do have quite a large farm. We'll cover a lot of that just by doing grass silage. 3 cuts of the grass silage a year. We should end up earning probably well over half that, I'd expect. It's not a complete lost cause, that, and means that we could possibly get that down as well. Being able to pay that off, or half of that off in the first year, again reduces how much of that cost we have each day, and it means that the loan would go back up very slowly during the second year as we continue to pay for our leased equipment, which would mean by third year we might have actually paid all of that loan off. This is going pretty well. I'm going to do 2 headlands because on our previous fields I've discovered that in order to get the correct amount of space to turn around, we want to do 2. What I will do though is set my course along the top here. There we go. Just going to turn off it into the corner here, so that we get as much of this as possible. Doesn't matter if we leave a patch, so long as it's not showing as a patch that's left on the map, which unfortunately that little bit is, but it's a very small patch that we can clear up later. Now this is the long side of the field, but as I've said on field 61 before, ideally we want to go across the hillside, which is a slightly smaller stretch, but does fit in rather nicely with the top side of the field, which just puts less strain on everything. So we want to come across here and we're going to sort of merge this in so that we get back to this start point over here, like so. Turn that off and we'll move over and we'll get the rest of this field done. Amazingly, this field has taken a huge amount more lime than our other 3 combined, which is incredible. We're down to the last 5% of lime. So I'm going to have to go and fill this up. I think we're going to want about another 2,000 litres. So we're going to head back down the shop, grab that before we head back down here and just finish this off. Grabbed another 2,000 litres. I would love to know why these crops failed. I cannot figure it out. And all the other crops that we planted, everything else has done really well. It's not like we planted everything really late or anything like that. They just didn't germinate and didn't grow. Whereas the potatoes, the corn and the soybeans are all ready to harvest at this point. Well, almost ready to harvest. As I said, they're going to be mid-autumn. On the plus side, we shouldn't need to fertilize these fields because these crops failed. There shouldn't need to be any fertilizer on here, so that should work in our favor as well. And I think we should have enough seeds left over from last year in order to get these 4 fields planted for the next season. I'm a little bit wary about how early we're planting the rye, simply because it really is early. This is about as early as you can plant it, so I'm hoping that it's going to be early enough for it to be successful. More successful than this year, certainly. And we just need to get this last little patch, and that has got that covered. And that little corner, just in case. No, there we go. So that is all done. That is a lot of lime that we've used today, but we have got those 4 fields done. They are ready for us to do next time. Let's get this over here. Last thing we're going to do today is, we know we're going to need to lime fields again, but I have a feeling we're going to need to do some more fertilizing first. So there are 4 fields that have all failed. They were the rye and the canola. Just really weird that those 4 failed. We do have 6 successful ones. Let's have a look at the fertilizer map. Fertilizer is good on all 4 of those fields, so we're not going to have to change that. Looking at this, though, we do need to fertilize 16 and 17. They are going to need a level of fertilizer, which we will have to do in the near future. And actually, we are first day of autumn, so I think what we'll do is, while we've got this piece of kit out, let's get those done now. So we'll unload that and we will load these up. And what I also need to do is, you may have noticed this tractor is in need of some fuel, so we'll see if we can get that done as well. Can I get all of these in? Yeah, there we go. So let's get these refilled. And then the fertilizer we have here, we can just run this around the fields. And that means when it comes to mid-autumn, we're going to have a really good cut of grass again, which, to be perfectly honest, I think is going to be our savior on this map. So let's get that going. And that now is sending that a deep, deep green, which is exactly what we want from these fields. And the great thing is, because we already put the slurry down on here, we're using very little fertilizer. It's actually something I need to do when we come to do our other fields after harvest this year. I think we can buy manure from the garden centre, and I think borrowing a manure spreader, spreading manure on our fields, and buying and spreading manure on our fields, is actually going to save us a load of money, even with the hire of the manure spreader, over the cost of the fertilizer. If we did it that way, that would be a really good way to go, especially after the first year, when we've earned money from our crops, or from our surviving crops. We should be able then to borrow a manure spreader and get our fields done with the first set of fertilizing that like that, save ourselves a load of money, and be quids in when it comes to the end of our second year of harvest. And there we go. We've barely used any fertilizer on this. We still have 26% left. Compared to the amount of lime we just used on our other fields, that was nothing. That was absolutely nothing. I am going to go and refuel this tractor now, though. We have 911 pounds, and we should be able to refill this tractor for less than that. And we'll give it a wash too. So let's bring this in here, get it fueled up. I like to turn the engine off. I'd like a mod actually that forces you to turn the engine off when you're refueling the tractor. There we go. That's all refueled. 238. I think we might try and refuel the other tractor while we're at it in that case. So I'll get that done today, but we'll give this a quick wash down. Wash down our Breedle as well. That has been a busy piece of kit today. Obviously don't want to get any water on the inside because we still got some fertilizer on that. But yeah, that's been a busy buddy today and has done a great job. Our little 7615 has done a great job as well today. That has managed to conquer all the hills we have on here, and we do ask a lot of this tractor as our workhorse on the farm, pulling some fairly large stuff up and down hills. But that is all the jobs for this today. I am going to refill the other tractor quickly, but I'm going to leave this here. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, drop us a comment, and give it a share. And for all the latest videos from Virtual Farmer, please subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.